Hello, everyone. I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And over here, we got some Jesse.
Hello.
With the lowdown because he's down low. And we
I
got
gotta
the.
read this code book, because we gotta figure
Oh,
what's gonna happen.
you have to if you want to understand the TV show. And then we got Rob, the ghost of Toys R Us Christmas Past.
Mitt Romney kills everything.
Mitt Romney.
That's why you don't put a dog on top of the car.
Devo has a song about that, by the way, and it's really good. Devo did a whole track on it.
I love Devo.
Going through this book, they have the Mandalorian breakdown of what the actual armor pieces are called.
Yeah, this is cock Lenore, where it goes on your cock, and this is knee Nolore, it goes on your knees.
Norkabor, Getbur.
Is it really that? Is it really? Is that?
Yeah,
is it really
it's
called?
in these. Yeah.
Fucking dorks. I can
Moten
smell my own
Burr.
kind.
Motenburg is the thigh pads, and Bislavik is the knee pads, and Tadunbur is for the shins, and Sitarbur is for the top of the feet.
That's connected to your groovy bone.
Yeah, the Getbur is like the collarbone.
All right, my dick is going inside itself right now. Here we go. You guys seen this poster?
Yeah,
I like it.
That one. There's a good one in this one too. Check this out.
No, I can't see it. I'm looking at the good one.
Yeah.
But
I like. Well, I mean, look, it's not drawn, but it's good composition. Right?
Yeah,
it's a little on the too many people shit, right? Like there's that weird thing at Disney where they seem to shove everything. Yeah, look, I had to deal with that with him. It's in this, but you forgot that. I didn't forget. There's just only so much fucking room.
It's the same thing as the shot in Endgame, where it's like, don't worry, she's got help, and all the female
Rancor keeper with no rank.
Where's the Rancor? Where's the Rancor, Disney?
I know.
But I mean, I actually do like it when there's a bunch of stuff to like look at. It's a little bit cooler than it just being like old Boba Fett like doing nothing. So I'm pretty happy with it for like what it is. It has it all. It has it all in there. I'm even okay with not having the Rancor. But if he does ride the Rancor, man, it would have been kind of cool if he was riding the Rancor in it though. Just a second.
Ride Galaxy's Edge, riding the Rancor.
Mm-hmm.
One would think that this would be like the cover to the actual like hardcover book or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully as we move into the show, like they use this like as the cover. I was gonna ask you, have either of you ever watched Akira Kurosawa's Throne of Blood?
Once, long time ago.
Yeah, so it's like a retelling. It's a retelling of Macbeth. Yeah, and I've seen some positive criticism or even defense going around, claiming that Boba missing from the final acts of his story are not unlike Macbeth. And I started to wonder.
The Phantom Menace to Othello for about 2 years before that movie came out, and then the movie came out.
Did he?
Yeah, he did, dude. He said it was very Shakespearean. It's more like Othello. So I was like, that's when I got into Shakespeare. I'm like, well, I'm gonna fucking watch my Shakespeare, and I was like, where's the fucking Othello? Was it Mace Windu? I don't know what the fuck I'm watching.
It's the Sarlacc.
Yeah. Because I was like, trying to think back. It's been years since I read it, since I read Macbeth, since I've seen Throne of Blood. I was like, most likely Throne of Blood is where the inspiration would be. However, I'm not sure I am buying it because, like obviously they're not claiming it's a one-to-one retelling of Macbeth, but it doesn't really like with Macbeth, you have like that opening kind of, or, act one moment with the witches who Macbeth encounters, and they're like, "You're going to be king, dog. You're going to be the king of it all." And one's like, "Nah, I'm not going to be king, but your heirs are." And then it's just like a whole, it goes. We lost Rob. It goes into like all of that jazz. But so right from the very start, we understand the seed that's been planted in Macbeth's mind and in his heart, like everything that he wants. Is he back home to his wife? What?
You froze up for a second there.
Are you serious? Well, I don't know. Yeah. You weren't freezing up for me. So was I freezing up to everybody in the chat? I don't know. Let me know so I know to keep talking or not.
But I had a thought like I can picture in my head is the rolling hills of Tatooine of sand and stuff, and it's Uncle Rico. He's like, "Hey, I bet I can throw a thermal detonator over the mountains."
Yeah, but what I'm trying to like lay out here is that there is a prophecy that really lays out what Macbeth wants and why he's going to make all of these mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then his wife starts pushing him into it, even when he starts to get like kind of have a moral conscience here. Oh, I don't want to kill the king and all that kind of stuff. She's like, "No, you're going to do it because
you signed on for this."
Yeah, and so I don't know if I am okay with that justification for the show not really laying stuff out, but I kind of also think about it the more I think about it, and I'm like, anybody who's watching Book of Boba Fett though is well aware of the larger Star Wars universe at large, I would think.
Yeah,
and so do we pretend like we don't know, like it's
there's gonna be some groups of folks who are gonna gripe no matter what ends up happening. Then like, "Oh, we needed to see him at the end of that." Well, why? No one said that you have to. If you're going this far, then we're pretty sure, like you said, we're going into a season 2.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of a little bit of good storytelling into me, because you're keeping the juice away, man. You're giving us sprinkles right now.
But what happens at the end of Macbeth, Jesse?
I don't know. I didn't read it.
He fucking dies, dude.
Don't they all die in Shakespeare?
He dies. I mean, just, if you're gonna go with the like Shakespearean structure, which I am in no way fucking pretending to be pretentious enough to actually truly know and understand.
I could not diagnose that as what it is.
But my point is that is the moral of the story. That's what happens when you go after the king. You're the king, and then you're dead too.
Yeah.
So is Boba going to die tonight? It's a valid question, because at the end of Macbeth, the battle doesn't work out too well for Macbeth.
Yeah, he's going to get in the back of the tank, and they're just going to unplug
it. Maybe, right? I mean, at this point, but I like I said, I don't really know if I buy the Macbeth.
Well, we didn't even find structure yesterday, honestly. So, I don't know.
Star Wars fans are trying hard to make sense of all this, and don't.
It shouldn't. You shouldn't have to.
And that's what I said. It's like the lesson I learned from the prequels is like, he just wrote it. That's what it is. It's not a lot of deeper meaning behind it. Just go with it or don't go with it. That's fine. But there's no hidden meanings here. There's no symbolism. It's just not that deep. I'm not saying it can't be. I'm saying that the people who made this, they ain't doing that.
It's 4 giant turtles and a giant rat in the sewer. So, hey.
So, yeah, basically, Bespin Bulletin is confirming that Rupert Friend is playing the Grand Inquisitor in Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hey, exclusive. Rupert Friend is playing the Grand Inquisitor in Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that's a pretty big story here.
Where do I know him from?
Yeah.
Was he in Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit movie?
He's got that Terminator 1000 look going for him, don't he?
Oh, a little bit of the Robert Patrick.
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what? I think he was in one of those Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah,
he was Jason Statham's brother, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
I like the corduroy.
Yeah, that isn't a jacket, huh?
I have a lot to add to the story and to all of this stuff, and I'll be getting to that pretty soon. But for now, let's just look at this. And so the Grand Inquisitor, yeah, he's definitely in it. I can back that up. I mean, what I'm trying to say is everything that he has right here is accurate. You know, the information to me over the handful of weeks that friend is an Inquisitor and spotted white makeup, and the second source telling me that friend is the Grand Inquisitor. Personally, I'm not too familiar with Friend's work, but Rupert is probably best known for his portrayal in the titular character in Hitman Agents 47. So, yeah. So, you know.
After Timothy Olyphant? What that was?
I don't know.
Because Olyphant.
You tell me. I don't know.
I've only seen the first Hitman, and it was Timothy Olyphant.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it. Yeah.
It must be a sequel.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I pretty much only watch like Macbeth.
Does this mean live action Hella Saber?
Mm-mm. No, they're but they are the Inquisitors in this one, man, are much more brutal than the stupid shit that we have seen in like Star Wars Rebels and stuff like that. You know, like you know, there's a moment where they like cut off somebody's fucking hands. Like that's how brutal it is. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of that in Star Wars in recent years, you know, but it goes there. It goes there. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty fascinating to see how they handle this, you know. I think anyways. Because the Inquisitors, they can really come off very cartoon bad guy, not fascinating whatsoever. But then there's also like this thing where they're kind of like low rent Sith Lords when you get down to it. And in some ways that's like kind of scarier, you know?
Well, maybe they show like his transition to becoming a Grand Inquisitor, like the horrible things that happened to him or whatever drove him that way.
Right. Well, we know what happened. Well, okay, we'll talk about that later. That's a good question, but we'll talk about that one later. In terms of the Grand Inquisitor, we do know that there are reasons why the Grand Inquisitor turned. The Grand Inquisitor turned because he was one of those Jedi cops, you know. So yeah.
He's getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, and in my my opinion, like the Grand Inquisitor and the Fifth Brother are sort of less important than Moses Ingram's character, and Moses Ingram's character is sort of I don't want to say key, but important. So yeah, what did Phantom Empire says he sent something if we want to use it. I don't know what it is, though.
It says, who is more likely to appear tonight? A, Han, B, Thrawn, C, Luke, D, Boba.
D, Boba.
That is. I might actually go with D, man. I might actually have to go with that.
Yeah.
But then I saw Duel of the Fates was trending on Twitter yesterday. And people were like, "Oh, would this?" And there's like articles like, "Will this be better than had they made this movie instead?"
All these rando like pop culture characters that mysteriously start trending around 2 a.m. I figure is sock puppet shit because it's always like around 2 a.m. Yeah, but it's always this like nerd inside base. Thrawn's not popular enough, legitimately.
There's no fucking way
to be trending on Twitter. So I'm like, there has to be some sort of sock puppet campaign that occurs around 2 or 3 a.m. when the chatter dies down. You know that they. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah.
Those threads.
It's interesting seeing people stand for him on Twitter and crush on him. Like,
Stan, how old are you?
Hey man, I don't know. That's what they say.
Speak your age. Yeah, that's what they say. You don't say that shit.
Fuck no, I don't say that shit.
Jesse, who are you shipping right now?
Eminem.
Am I shipping?
Creepy song. Yes.
I haven't heard that yet though. But oh my god, I don't think.
Let's all be old now. All right.
Fair enough.
I'd rather be old. Fuck they're gonna forget these popular terms in 2 years. That's the thing that I learned. Like when I started doing T-shirts in 2005, like jokes and trendy little things would run 4 years, right? Maybe 5, and now they'll last 6 months. You know, you can't put shipping on a shirt. It's done and over with the way the internet burns through. They're not going to remember this stuff. So just don't acquire this into your vocabulary. It's my advice.
Yeah. I mean, shipping has been around for about 10 years now, but I do feel like it's one of those words where if you did see it on a shirt at Target, that's when it's officially dead. Like when you go to Target and you see a tie-dye shirt with a peace symbol on it, you know that if the hippie's completely fucking sold out and it's dead. The dream is over. It's done.
The AC/DC or Metallica shirts is like, what? This isn't Hot Topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember back in the 80s when people thought like Metallica and Judas Priest and shit like that was actually like scary. Like they thought like little demons might come out of the records. They were all fucking stupid. It was all vaudeville. It's just all vaudeville, you know, when you get down.
You know what's
to
funny
it.
about that is my wife grew up in this homeschooled Christian house, and so she believed in all that shit when she was a kid. And I introduced her to Metallica, and then she's like, "This is just." It's whiskey in the jarro. I'm like, yeah, I know. I know. It's silly, like to think that this was ever considered, you know, something that would open up the gates of hell if you listen to it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, what it really will do is open up the gates to spending $90 for a T-shirt. You know, if you're not careful, you know, you gotta be careful. They'll get you.
The only thing I was shipping in a way is getting my Greg Capullo covers from Death Metal. So I finally got my 1/100.
Wow.
That I was waiting for. I think it's now complete.
No one knows what that is but you and me.
Yeah, but I have no idea. Shit.
Fucking
go
nerds.
get it.
So
read it, fools.
Just to re-break my website writing hymen, I jumped into the site today and I was like, I got it rehosted and all of that jazz. I think it's working. It's been a pain in the ass because it's like whenever you look up stuff on how to like run a site or what to do with the site, it's always for these people who are doing like my little coffee shop where we draw dicks in the mocha like latte bullshit, you know? And I'm like, dude, I got like a fucking database with like fucking 50 gigs of images and shit. Like, how does this work? And
Wix. Just Wix.
Wix. Yeah, exactly what will not work. But
you're gonna need a projector and a long pointer.
But I decided just to sort of coagulate my ideas and my thoughts of everything that had been going on with Grogu. But the thing that I wanted to like really bring up on this site or from this article that I did was StarWars.com's piece. And that's where StarWars.com writes, "We've glimpsed Luke's storied temple in comic books and on film. Although, to be fair, it was mostly rubble and flame in Star Wars The Last Jedi. Now we turn back the clock to see the new Jedi School at its inception, with ant droids working hard to place every stone on the first humble hut." So they confirm that right there. They confirm that that is the Jedi School that Kylo Ren destroys and that we see burning in the sequel trilogy.
It's a cop out.
It's a cop out. It's a cop out.
The androids are cop out.
What you think Luke should have fucking done it with the Force, not been a fucking lazy asshole?
That's how if you're fucking a master.
Are you saying these shortcuts are what the Kylo Ren?
The best Yoda could do was build a mud hut, Jesse. Chill out.
Well, Luke has got 4 more feet on him, so hey.
4 more feet.
Hey, look, when your whole claim to fame
tall
is lifting rocks, I mean, why the fuck you got droids doing it, you lazy asshole? I'm just saying. I'm with Jesse on this one. I think it's this kind of laziness that led to Kylo Ren.
I mean, he taught Rey, and Rey was lifting rocks the first time, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's his Force shtick, dude. It's like, I'm good with rocks.
Rey's not going to use no fucking ant droids.
Hell no,
she's going to use Aunt Beru's bones.
She's going to hack and slash those blocks by herself, bro.
No.
Sure, and Wookiees single-handedly built the Death Star. Sure. You know.
No, Genes did, you idiot. God, you're so dumb.
Would they have to wear a giant Wookiee hairnet if they were actually building the Death Star?
When they cook, they just fucking get like a giant.
Because they'd get everywhere, be in the vents and shit, and you'd go to turn on your air conditioner in your stormtrooper room, and it just get this big.
That's why droids cook, because you don't want Wookiee hair in your fucking French onion soup.
Until you piss the droid off, and he gives you an oil pee.
But last night, I finally did it. I did my Star Wars Santa homework, and I watched it. And by it, I mean, what do you call it? What's it called? Paper Moon. I watched Paper Moon, you guys.
Hey.
Have you seen it before, Rob?
Yeah, I have seen it.
Yeah. I liked it. It was really good. I thought it would have been a lot cooler if Jon Favreau had pulled kids smoking from it. Had Grogu been smoking cigarettes, that would have been really cool. Had Grogu had been telling Din, I want my 200 credits. You owe me 200 credits. That would have been cool too.
We can't do Death Sticks on Disney Plus. Sorry.
You don't want to sell me Death Sticks.
I tried. I tried to sell them. I brought them to the meeting, but they won't let me do it. So.
I had to go home and rethink my life.
And it was associate produced by Frank Marshall. Did you know that? I didn't know that until or if I did.
No, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah,
he's been around a while, Frank Marshall, right?
Yeah. He was in that Orson Welles kind of filmmaking circle. So he kind of jumped over from that tour side of filmmaking into more of the mainstream filmmakers when the 70s kids took over. It's kind of how I interpret his early career anyways. And but yeah, I mean, it was a really, really good movie. And I was like, oh, this is what's strange about it is Favreau was completely it's very obvious to pull Star Wars beats from that. It's just so obvious. When you see it, this is a really genius idea. But also as you're watching it, it's sort of weird how he used it, because Paper Moon in that film, the guy is basically a Han Solo type. I mean, it even has that screwball comedy kind of
Spaceballs.
No, not Spaceballs. That's an 80s spoof. Yeah, it has that that sort of genre, how Han Solo and Lando and Leia all interact. They are continually at odds. The little girl is constantly pissed at him. He's constantly annoyed with her, and therein lies the tension. And they always have something to talk about. They ends up picking up sort of a sex worker kind of lady. I was
gonna say side chick to make a joke.
Yeah, and then you get that, and then the little girl knows that she's bad and that she's using him, But they just go around scamming, selling Bibles. They just put somebody's name and they find when somebody died.
It's and then you guys remember that music video that Paul McCartney did with Michael Jackson? Hey, 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 where they're running around selling tonics and Bibles.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's very similar. Thriller. No, this is before all that. I know, Jesse. I know everything's a Rob joke, but but yeah, there was that whole wave of '70s stuff where you got the Susan Sarandon, what's her face,
Goldie Hawn.
No, man, the young actress, the brain farting her name. The film where she was in a brothel, that whole brothel film, right?
Jodie Foster?
No, before that, man.
I'm thinking of Taxi Driver.
Brooke Shields.
Oh, Brooke Shields.
Oh, yeah. So, see, Star Wars Santa's Star Wars Santa's doing that.
He's yelling at his screen right now.
Yeah, he's doing the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brooke Shields. Yeah, Brooke Shields. Say. Yeah. So there's that whole doing the old timey thing in the 70s. Seemed to be the big deal. But it's cool. It's just
Billy.
When I see that, I'm it's also could have easily been the setup for an episode of The Honeymooners, Paper Moon, it's just one of those classic little setups where you get the kid, but you help the kids, kid helps you scam. It's like getting the Michigan J Frog, and the Michigan J Frog helps you pull off all these scams to make money until the frog stops working with you, kind of thing.
Yeah, but thinking back on it, don't you find? I mean, I found it kind of odd. That was this Paper Moon. I mean, the main character or the father figure in it, way more of a Han Solo than than a fucking Ren Fair nerd like Mando. And it works
Mando is cutting people in half though, dude, with the Darksaber. Like,
yeah, he's a fucking nerd. He's a fucking Ren Fair nerd who's fucking not in check. There's no law.
Chop that table in half because he was going to, or was it so heavy that he had no choice?
Do you want to know why?
Ren Fairs you go to, bro. Do
you want to know why? Ren Fair nerd. That's why he did it. That's why he did it. He's always wanted to do it. He's been waiting to fucking do it. But no, but I mean, but the character is way more of a Han Solo, especially maybe even almost more of a Han Solo and Solo a Star Wars story. So it's like it's interesting that he pulled from that film, but then made it where it's a dude who like doesn't talk and the little baby can't talk, and like, so one of the more interesting dynamics of the premise is completely removed. It's just like a dad and a parent and a kid on an adventure together.
Well,
that's pretty much where it starts and stops. But if the Grogu goes back,
hold on, the show was originally pitched as a Boba Fett show, right? And then like, so maybe he came at it with that Boba Fett Han Solo angle, and then once Filoni and them go, no, we'll make a new character, and it becomes this other thing, you know?
Maybe.
So we're assuming the paper moon thing started when the Mando was invented. I assume it started when the whole pitch, you know, that's the pitch, you know, with the Boba Fett and everything. So
yeah,
helps him go legit, and then he has to find another way to help Boba Fett go legit, and this is what we're stuck watching every week now for another night.
But where I'm kind of like going with this is, as the Mandalorian stories go on into the future, and if Grogu's memory has been sort of restored, his speech may start to come about very soon, and we may see that dynamic come more into play in the series.
They're going to be a 2-person A-team.
I don't think it's not. It's really a duo. It's really a duo. It's not an A-team, but it's
call MG.
Well, I think that they're going to start. I think they may start to develop that banter between them once Grogu can speak. I'm curious as to how that plays, if it plays well. But I mean, it should play well. It plays well in that concept, but that of course assumes that Din and Grogu don't just become Mandalorian. He dies in the next like
Mando
12 episodes, you know, that kind of thing. But I mean, the little fucker's like fucking going on like 55 years old right now, so I imagine he's gonna start speaking like, and I don't think it's going to be like I don't think it's going to be broke. I don't think it's going to be like crazy. I think he might speak normally, because
like Kelsey Grammer is the beast.
Well, Luke Skywalker straight up like is telling him like he spoke in riddles. He spoke strangely, or whatever he said. He talked.
Yeah, he said he talked in riddles. Yeah.
Yeah. So that to me says that backward speak thing isn't going to be a characteristic of the Yoda species. It's a characteristic just of Yoda. That's my guess.
Mark Hamilton, I like that. We need the N1 to get upgraded with a kit style nav computer that trolls Din in a camp voice.
I'm all about it. I was with Rob, you know, not being able to be on video. I was kind of hoping that we could get one of those, you know, Kit's little mouth thing that like without talking, when it talked, like that little icon that lit up, that red thing. We need that for Rob, so he could be our Kit.
My wife needs that for me, so she doesn't have to look at me first thing in the morning.
I found my itty bitty emperor. I can't even believe they made one.
Yeah, I remember sitting in Kit for the first time.
Oh, I said, yeah, Kit, Universal Studios.
Where is Michael Knight? And
Michael's not here right now.
It was St. Patrick's Day, and he said Michael is at a St. Patrick's Day party with his wife,
or and someone who vaguely looks like her.
And then I was like, his wife. Have you ever seen the show? He doesn't have a wife. So, yeah, but it didn't go well. But yeah, but I did that article today about Grogu, and somebody's like, well, and the fact that they put a little bubble on the back of the N1 for him, you know, and I do take that bubble though to because I mean, like, Grogu can just climb in the cockpit with him. and like he doesn't really have to go in the bubble. I think he will, but he doesn't have to.
No, they're gonna add 2 guns on the back like a turret, and he's gonna be the back gunner.
But if he's a bounty hunter, if he does any bounty hunting, I still think it's funny if he has the guy in there and you just like see the guy in a little bubble, like all humiliated, like Blue Guy from the first episode. Imagine his fat ass like in that fucking thing, like a little bubble, and you see a stupid fish face.
What was the main job for the guy in the back of the snow speeder?
Tell jokes.
Dak got killed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were tail gunners, but there's this one doesn't have a tail
showdown, Jesse.
Yeah, we love Dak, dude. we fucking love Dak, man.
I'm here all day. Tip your waitress.
God, we love Dak.
I stand Dak.
I stand Dak.
Imagine trying to explain that shit to kids in 1985. Just like you're what? You future people.
So do you guys think tonight we're gonna I know we kind of already went over this on the predictions episode, but do you think we're gonna go back to Grogu tonight? You think Grogu's choice will be a part of the finale of this season?
Yes.
And I do too.
Bro, it has to be. It ended on that choice. If it was something that they kind of said and it ended on Boba Fett doing something, but it ended on the choice. So it's like it has to be. Otherwise, that's why I told you my prediction was the numerical number comes down because I'm just it's called at this point Favreau insurance. Like I can't just assume at this point that because you see that shot at the end that logically they'll just show that. I don't know. You know what I mean? This show makes I mean it makes almost rush. I mean it's Rashomon and it's like telling in some ways, you know, like in that it really just depends on what you see and what you interpret, and I don't know if one thing's gonna.
And I was surprised to see the lightsaber for Yoda, honestly, because I thought, but just because I grew up with the movies, that he didn't have it, like he shed, and then even in Attack of the Clones and all that, he shed all the stuff that would be Jedi related. Now he's living in a mud hut, as you say, so I don't know why he would have the lightsaber still.
Yeah, I've been like trying to think about this about Book of Boba. When I say as a text, I just mean what it's saying, what it is by itself, themes and stuff like that. And what I've been kind of like, I don't know if struggling is the word, but ping-ponging back and forth in my brain is we see Boba Fett in the opening pretty early on Kamino, longing for his father who's leaving him alone. And we kind of see what, in a weird way, what that's done to Boba. It's created this guy who's living in the shadow of the father, this guy who sees his father then murdered. And then, but they don't really do a good job of anything past that. But where is that thing picked up again? It's strangely not picked up with Boba, but is it being picked up with Din and Grogu? Are those so? Like, if we just think of this as a book, this is kind of like where we see it again. We see
Boba tells Mando, "Hey, don't get your head cut off; it'll ruin his life." Like, ruin my life. Thanks, Boba.
Well, we see Boba putting his hand like on the glass or something like that, like doing the not Penny's belt moment. No, doing like the hand on the glass. But then we also see Grogu literally doing that as his father flies away. Those two things are completely like juxtaposed. And a part of me goes, did these motherfuckers get confused who was Mando and who was Boba? Because they're kind of doing it wrong. They're kind of like mixing it up here. But I'm like, does this count? Is that what this is doing? You know? And I'm curious if we're gonna see this matter, because are we setting up a story down the road where Din does die, and then Grogu literally is going to become Boba Fett? You know what I'm saying? Like his life story may actually end up being just like his, but the difference is that this little bastard's going to have a dark saber.
Pirate Roberts.
Yeah. Well, kinda. I mean, but more of just, you know, your standard comic book version of you know, crime makes crime. You know,
and I think this whole time Boba too, after seeing his dad killed and all that. Like he's just been on a mission to hurt people first before they can hurt him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he's living in the shadow.
Not in this series. They had to say, well, he made a choice, and I'm like, I don't know what choice he made. I don't know what choices he made. He got all them Tuscans killed, and his response to that is to get his ship and pick a bigger fight. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like anytime that dude comes in contact with people, everyone but him dies. So that's the only lesson I've learned. Yeah, and it's like I feel like in order for this episode to be a 10 tonight, like all the mods need to die. Rancor guy needs to die. Fennec maybe near death, feeling betrayed. Like he has to be like a cursed person,
Yeah.
Otherwise it's just like forever. I don't know what you're saying, bro. You keep talking, I'm talking. Like,
sorry.
I just feel like this feels almost like Iron Man 2, where Iron Man 2 felt less about Iron Man and more about like setting up a bunch of Avenger shit.
Yeah.
And I know Favreau had a hand in writing Iron Man 2, right? Like he was.
Yeah.
But there was that fight between the story group and him, and that's what I'm wondering. Like, is it a company decision to set all this stuff up, or was it his decision? Well, no, they'll never tell us, right? I wish we're getting that dinner for 5 bit right now. Like at the end, you know how they do like that? Was they do that Talking Dead or something after like The Walking Dead, right? A bunch of people talk about.
Oh yeah.
But what if Favreau had shot a conversation with him and Filoni and some of the actors or something that would play after the show? You're right, like that you could watch to get some context for what they're seeing in a way, and like.
Well, I had a meeting over the summer, and one of the sources jokingly said, do you want to talk about Boba or you want to talk about Obi-Wan? And I was like, well, we'll talk about Obi-Wan. That's what I picked. That's what I'm interested in. And but one little thing that I garnered from that conversation at that time was that Boba spiraled out of a creative moment in planning the future of the Mandalorian series. So I think that basically just what was supposed to be about Boba in season 3 just got so big it became its own thing. But no matter what, because of where it came from, it was going to be subservient to the Mandalorian storyline, not to Boba Fett. I think that's exactly what we have. That's
100%.
my take is. And so it's going to strengthen the Mandalorian, and it's not necessarily going to give us everything that we ever wanted to know about Boba Fett off the cuff. The Boba Fett, the premise of the Boba Fett film was that we would understand this man, and right now that's sort of that opening of Macbeth with the witches. Well, his witches is the Sarlacc pit, and then he got out of it, and that's not a prophecy. I don't understand why he's doing what he does. If it's to avenge the Tuscans, he sure says a lot of bullshit, but doesn't say that. So I'm like where I'm just trying to figure it out, and I'm curious if after tonight it's going to be a hell of a lot more clear, or if it will just be left in ambiguity, as if J.J. Abrams did a pass on this for them or something, But
yeah, I would guess on that. I would stop looking to Shakespeare to explain Star Wars, and especially that Star Wars book that's all written in Shakespeare.
Merchandising.
Verbose.
Merchandise, yeah. I mean, but that's I do see. I can see some elements of Throne of Blood kind of like littered through it. You know what I mean? I could kind of see it, but at the same time, and in the sense that in Throne of Blood, like nothing fucking happens. I mean, a lot happens.
The only Star Wars story
it's a bad samurai movie to me.
It's not. It's not my favorite. The only Star Wars story I've ever seen that invoked Shakespeare was Tag and Bean.
Yeah.
So like you could.
With Rosencrantz and Guildenstern or whatever.
Yeah, like it's just it's almost like you have to do it as a parody to get out of it, because Shakespeare is also like It's just, I mean, it'll play like an episode of Star Trek, right? I mean, a lot of those Star Trek episodes
was that a
just
movie
try to
with,
put.
Sorry, go ahead.
A lot of those Star Trek episodes from the '60s just put Shakespeare, in on screen, and it leaves you hanging like a TV show sort of does, right? Like those episodes of Star Trek at the end, you're like, did it really end, or does it sort of well, we've kind of learned a lesson. I don't know, all right, tune in next week. And then you spend years pontificating what you saw, but what you saw was just someone trying to get 22 episodes of script done in like fucking 6 weeks. So like that's what you saw. And here, I did the confusing part for I think is what you said is that this was supposed to be a movie. Like where's all the development for the movie? It couldn't have been this. Like
I don't think I don't at this point. I don't believe that anything from the film concept was used whatsoever. I don't. I think I think based off of what everything was from Mandalorian season 3 development, and that's what it is. At the end, I have to think. I have to think.
Introducing all these different characters and everywhere, and just kind of writing for that to get through this season, just basically so we can have a better version of season 2, in a way. It just
no, for
empty it sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an idea that became too big for season 3 of Mandalorian, and not quite, maybe not quite big enough for season 1 of Book of Boba. And I still feel as much as potential as there is for a Boba Fett story, I'm not really that crazy about there being a Boba Fett series and a Mandalorian series at the same time. I mean, they're cosmetically the same, and it being the same creative people for the most part. It's more of the.
Maybe that's why they felt the need to take Boba's helmet off the whole time.
I think so. Yeah,
and it's just, they shouldn't have. People are smart enough. Look, if they could tell the difference between those Transformer faces, like they're smart enough to get who's who.
Yeah,
like I just, but I can see the thinking behind that. They tend to, sadly, they do tend to. I'm not going to say talk down, or they tend to think the audiences are dumber than they are sometimes. With like this sort of thing, like, oh, they won't get it, so we'll do this, and that'll give us a chance. And it's like, since you're telling an out of context story anyway, where you're kind of jumping around time, you're better off just adapting that film screenplay to like 3 episodes worth of content, and then shoving in your Mando stuff, and then running the two. So the 2 stories would have been Mando and then a Boba, and then a Mando and a Boba, right? Like, and just told the Boba story in order. And if you didn't catch up to where we left off with Boba until episode 4, take that hit versus whatever hit we're taking now. Like that would have been a hit people would have complained about only on the first viewing, and then at the end of it they would be like, well, like you go rewatch it, it all makes sense. Like the jumping around, it's Star Wars is so weird with jumping around with time, because the universe doesn't change much visually. Like when we jump around time here 20 years ago, I mean, I guess, okay, it's harder. It gets getting harder now, isn't it? To see 2002 to now, like what the real difference is, But but before the internet started selling things to people, and Sears and Toys R Us dictated the trends. You jump back. It's only 30 years from Back to the Future to back to the 1955, 1985. You go back 30 years, and it's like, you're talking 90
Nirvana and shit, man.
Yeah, you're talking the formation of Image, and it's not, aside from the hair and some fanny packs and dudes who always wore sweaters. I don't know why. Sweaters with shirts. It's not that big a difference. So the real thing was this A and B storyline should have, the fact that it shows up 5 episodes in, and now is the leader of the show is what's so strange. Like, it should have just been there from the beginning. And we'd all, let Luke and Grogu on the planet episode 1, and then come back to it in episode 5. Well, whatever. But
yeah,
I agree with you though. Like I think trying to read into their influences too much though isn't going to help with the end result. I think they might be borrowing premises. I don't think they're borrowing endings.
No, I think I think that Paper Moon is the one time where my point was, what did they take from Paper Moon? And there's a parental figure and a child, and they're on the road. And then the only thing that's left is that Grogu smokes. Grogu wants his fucking money. Or Grogu gets dropped off and then returns. And I think that's very obvious. That's all that can be. I mean, if they're even going to bother name dropping it, it has to be that. So I think that alone is the key, though. Is that, and that's pretty much it.
What's that Uncle Buck style movie? But it's with shit, I just forgot his
Curly Sue.
No.
Curly Sue is, I think, a retelling of Paper Moon
with Ed O'Neill.
Dutch.
Yeah.
Dutch. Yeah, not the same. I rewatched it. It's not. Your memories of that film are not what the film was actually doing.
Right.
No. It's one of those scripts where I'm like, all right, this was a first pass script. As much as I love Ed O'Neill, it's got a lot of problems.
Do you think it was asked just a minute ago in the chat? I think it was asked in chat. I lost it now. Do you guys think that Luke Skywalker is going to return tonight and end up aiding in the fight when Grogu most likely says, "I want to go home"? Well, because if we can look at number one, if he does, that might make Boba and Luke even Stevens.
He can't though.
Because he's fake. Because he's not real.
Maybe he orbits the planet, but I don't think he sets foot back on Tatooine.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I personally would rather Grogu steal Luke's X-wing and the lightsaber and show up and just do it all on his own. It's like, fuck you, Luke. Got my chainmail. I stole your lightsaber. I'm gonna be Mandalore, bitch. Like, that's where I would go with Grogu. But at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw him taken there, and then if they ended up helping, in the fight. Because I mean, there is that rumor. Well, if we're gonna, I'm really sick of it. If I'll be honest, if these rumors don't pan out, I'm probably not going to be using these sources anymore, or these sources of reportage. But they're supposed to be Han Solo, supposed to be more Luke, they're supposed to be all that shit right there. And so I'm curious if this, and then viewer Anon says that it goes a completely different way that we don't expect, and that I don't know if they said that. They said that it has an episode, a sequel trilogy connection. And then I think they said that it doesn't go how we expect, though. I think they said that. There's too much to contend with these days in my brain. But it does seem...
The problem I've had with the reporting from a lot of the Star Wars shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, everyone, peace and love, folks. All right?
Peace and love.
But there's way too much, I heard this, I heard that going on. And not a lot of direct sourcing, actual context on this production at all.
You challenging me? You challenging me right now? You challenging me?
You're the only one who said, I have no clue what the fuck's going on with this show.
Yeah. I sat this one out.
Since day one. Since day one, you've been 1,000% honest. Like, folks, I don't know. Like, it's COVID got things weird, and no one really. It's kind of a insular situation. You're the only one who actually had photos of shit on set that I've seen. Like you got ran down by a car. I mean,
but that was
in his car.
Yeah, but we've had friends of the show in chat back in episode 1. Go watch the live chats. Just claim, oh, this is definitely happening. That's definitely happening. I haven't seen any of it. So like you can keep, punting the ball down. Well, tonight's the fucking the proof is in the tasting of the pudding. Is actually the saying. Tonight we gonna taste the real pudding. We're getting down to the bottom of that snack pack,
creamy center.
Yeah. And I'm willing to bet a lot of this was just people thinking that, well, obviously this will happen and obviously that'll happen. And it's a little bit of fan math. And I just don't. You're not doing yourself. You might you might get lucky, but more often than not, with the way these things are made, people don't generally write things according to fan math. Like there's a lot of complications that come involved. You could pitch. I've pitched obvious fan math ideas for projects, and then the word back is we can't do any of that. And you're like, why? And you're like, well, because we can't. Just for whatever reason.
Oh, I looked it up. It's fuck you. Thing. That's why.
That's really what it is. But
take a walk, son.
Yeah, and it totally happens. And so like then you're stuck with the A level, the B level, the C level ideas, the Z level stuff, and it's just frustrating because all these reporting, it's like naturally, if I were just to play a little fan math, I would say, well, you're not going to expect what's coming tonight. Well, yeah, because no one's been able to expect any of this fucking shit. Like, no one 5 weeks ago was having the Grogu fucking Luke conversation.
Yeah.
Would you both guys, if they gave you a chance and it was still there, like, would you both want to go see what the writer's wall looks like with all the ideas posted up there before they start dropping things off?
I'm done with trying to see what they could have. I mean, the Duel of the Fates is one of those examples where it's like, hey, look, here's a bunch of stuff you could have done. I'm not saying it's genius, but they could have done. What does it get you at Star Wars with what they could have done? Like it's interesting in like an art book sense, but it's frustrating as a fan when I open up the art of The Force Awakens and see 5 different better films in the artwork than the film they made, and I'm like, I don't like a pirate ship town and Luke on this temple, all that stuff with the Sith ghosts, and then you're like, and then we got this film, where like they're shoving people in trash compactors for like fucking 10 minutes, and like I don't okay, fine, like it's fine, it's whatever. So I'm more interested in the wins. The wins get me excited. So like I want to know how they did the technical stuff behind the wins, the visual effects on certain stuff. There's just creative decisions on editing, like on the episode 5 was fantastic. I want to know who's responsible for all the stunt choreography on episode 2. Like I want to know more about the making of the stuff that really worked. And I just kind of want to move everything else out the way, because it's just going to bum me out. But yeah, that's my
Bridging the Geekdom says we're missing the point though. Theorizing is half the fun in any fandom. People just need to temper expectations while doing theorizing, though, and that's the thing. Though that's not us missing the point. Is if you're reporting that X, Y, and Z is happening, that's not theory. Like Mike Zero, for instance, just to name the biggest bullshit artist ever. He's not theorizing. He's literally claiming a truth that's going to happen. I'm hearing. And which by the way, usually whenever you hear that I'm hearing, it's usually kind of like,
I gotta add this too. There's a lot of people that I work with that like Star Wars, but not as much as we do and stuff. But there are people who I work with who don't watch the show or anything like that. They know who Mike Zero is.
That's funny. Yeah. My whole thing is like, I mean, I prefer, and not that I've been that prolific in the last couple months, but I prefer to say what I know, like, as opposed to what I think I know or whatever. It's a little bit hard for the fandom to understand the difference.
And they all know he's bullshit too. So that's the best part.
Yeah.
But I think that comment is missing my point. What I said was we were all here theorizing what we think would happen based on what we're watching. Mm-hmm. The feedback we've been getting from folks who do a lot of reporting isn't theorizing. They're telling me, no, your theories are wrong. It's going to go this way. I haven't seen any of it. So like the theorizing is fun. It's when people who claim to have inside knowledge, they play that, well, you don't know. And I'm like, do you really know? Or just is everyone sitting in a confirmation bias bubble, all agreeing with one another? Because and if you just all keep telling each other that it won't manifest a show out of nowhere. Like this it really goes back to the Disney Plus day when we were all like, hey, what will they do on Disney Plus Day? And I'm like, I don't even know what Disney Plus Day is. I don't fucking know. Like I don't know. And so like we sat here watching Twitter update for 3 fucking hours with me banging my head on the fucking desk, not because we had to do it, but because there was nothing to watch. You know,
Right.
and there was and friends of our show, you know, and I'm just trying to warn them, like, look, if you want to do this long term, save yourself the trouble. If you don't know it, listen to Jason. I don't know. Say you don't know. Don't say you do know when you don't know. Exactly. Hoping that, you know, your fan math will just sort of make you seem smarter than you are, because it just doesn't help. The funner discussion is in all our crazy theories and what's in the Sith Interceptor ship. And then, you know, you have a fun discussion, you have a serious discussion. The Paper Moon thing. These are all things that are great, theoretical, fun conversations to have. But when it's like, when we have that and someone's like, no, Mace is definitely not coming. Who knows that? I don't know that, you know, like probably not, given that Boba Fett has nothing to do with the show. But like, so what if like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, there's just too much, a lot of people thinking that they know what happens, but because they've all just agree with one another, it's going to happen. Like the Conja Club thing, like, really, that's a thing?
Yeah, right.
Wasn't it? That didn't come back in any of those sequel movies. Like, you know, to bring that back now, I could see it happening, just given how the show pulls a lot of weird shit. But we're supposed to get a Rancor fight. It was the one thing I've been hearing since day one, was about the Rancor fight. And even that, now I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get the Rancor. We should.
Rancor versus Rothtar.
Yeah, just Boba Fett riding a Rancor, tearing up Tatooine. Like, I assume we're going to get that, you know? But
like Godzilla.
They did show you the Hutts and get rid of the Hutts in the very next episode. So, for all I know, they could kill it. The Pikes could go down there and blow up his Rancor in the next episode, and then that takes that one out of the equation, you know?
Yeah, I just heard some interesting stuff about Kenobi right now, about Hayden in the suit, but I need to look at it a little bit later. Anyways, Mark Hamilton says these grifter channels love getting high off their own farts. They're just reporting their own speculation and repeating real sources and claiming it's their scoop. We know who they're talking about, but yeah, we'll have to see how this all pans out. I mean, a big thing going around right now is, in my opinion, I think if we were, not that anybody ever said Mace Windu is coming for sure. Nobody ever reported that I know of, anyways. So this isn't against anybody, but Tamara Morrison has come out and said that he wants season 2 of Book of Boba, and he wants it to be he wants Mace Windu to come back. So that right there tells me exactly what we need to know.
No, it'll.
He wouldn't be saying that. He wouldn't be saying that before the finale of the show. If it happened in this one, he would be in trouble if he did that. So that means I would not expect any Mace Windu at all.
Yeah, Tamura Morrison wants a show that actually deals with Boba Fett's problems. That's what I hear. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, because that the whole macing just comes from, well, what's an unresolved thing about his past? Someone murdered his father. You know, like, never, and that's shaped his entire future since. You know, like, there's no guarantee. He may have been a bounty hunter, but he may not have been like this working for the Empire kind of bounty hunter kind of guy. He may have just been out there mandoing it, you know, with his little Mando code. You know, like, Jango didn't seem to be like, yeah, man, I'll hook up with the Sith.
You know, I mean, it's like,
he thought he was.
Yeah, what if they even did where it's kind of a switcheroo where it becomes Fennec's show and he's just like the special guest star?
Kind of already did that. It was kind of the guest star in his own show already. Yeah. Fennec just isn't interesting. Fennec just has nothing going on for her. They haven't. That's where I think one of the actual, like, very valid critiques of the series is Fennec just, I'm along for the ride. You know, but then we don't learn anything about her. I don't know what she likes, what she hates, what she's doing. I know no more about Fennec now than I knew about her, 10 minutes ago. And he says
Yeah, Rob, she's like Tom Sizemore in Heat.
No, she's like Black Widow and Iron Man 2. I told you, if you want a really good comparison in the quality of writing of the show, go back and watch Iron Man 2 and just sort of see how it's a weirdly constructed film, and compared to that first film, which was very focused on one guy and dealing with the sins of his father and his, and his wealth and his ignorance and his, I don't have to be involved with the world, but he had to be involved. And the second one's just a bunch of weird loose plot threads that don't really resolve anything in that movie, but they'll be continued sometime later. And they introduce all these characters that are just sort of taking away from what's going on with Tony? Why are we here doing this? To the point where we're still like, when they saw Spider-Man, like, look, that was the kid from Iron Man 2. No, it makes the movie. I'm like, no, it doesn't make the movie better.
It doesn't make it any better.
Sam Rockwell makes the movie watchable. That's it. Like, it's not a great. It's their worst effort. So
him dancing coming out. That's the best part.
Yeah, that. So I think like Fennec is very much like Black Widow in that film compared to where Black Widow is in the Black Widow film, or even where Black Widow is in Avengers. Like it's.
Yeah,
it's just she's just a weird character in that film, man.
Right.
So,
well, Left Coast Graphics thinks Fennec will die. I think 100%. Sadly,
no.
A part of me thinks it doesn't fucking matter if she lives or dies at this point. But I almost think if she was going to die, they would have jammed in more important things about her before. Like, here's a little bit of any remaining ideas that we have for this person before we kill them off. But then again, I guess maybe it could just be we don't have any ideas for this person. We're gonna kill her off. But I kind of I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just, what can you say about this show? It doesn't. A lot of the stuff doesn't really seem to have a lot of rhyme or reason. It's a lot of the, as we were talking about yesterday, Rob, the and then
yeah,
kind of storytelling. So
it's almost like it's a bipolar show. It really is.
Disappeared. And then
we covered it when he put it up a few minutes ago, Nolan. Yeah, pretty neat stuff, right? Yeah, Rupert Friend is the Grand Inquisitor. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to the sound design for those characters. Like,
I
want
for the Inquisitors.
Yeah, I'm hoping their sound design's been getting better. Especially, that's the one thing I could say about the Book of Boba Fett. That's some of the best sound design I've heard out of anything in the new era of Star Wars, like especially that N1 Starfighter with this, and the Darksaber has some really cool sounds that, that aren't typical. It wasn't just like them doing a lightsaber sound, but backwards or something.
Yeah.
So I am hoping that the Inquisitors have, with the right voice, man, like the voice on, I'm certain that the Cad Bane voice is the dude from the cartoon, right? But like, that could have come out weird, but it sounds cool, So like, hoping the Inquisitors sound fucking dope.
It was in episode 9, Bridging the Geekdoms, at the end when Rey says she's Rey Skywalker. Can't block it out forever. It happened. It happened in the Star Wars canon, anyways.
In the dirt with the sabers, you go.
In what world is Ming-Na Wen the same age as Bay Arthur Golden Girls? Can't believe that beauty is almost 60.
Smoking, bro.
Smoking and drinking, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is harsher in the States. Don't worry, harsh life is coming back. We'll all age quicker. You'll see.
True.
The way the world's going.
Yeah. Yeah.
I lost 2 years of my life. Where'd I go?
I also think it has to do with the fact that they used to cast people who were in a lot of ways more realistic overall looking, like even Mark Hamill is more realistic looking than say Hayden Christensen.
That's true.
Hayden Christensen is as a fucking model looking dude. Whereas Mark Hamill is a very good looking dude, but still like very much looks like a guy you might see going to, school or something.
Homely farm boy. That's
he's
I would say homely. He's good looking, but but exactly. Like you don't have any of those, like for instance, Carrie Fisher versus Natalie Portman. Carrie Fisher looks like a really cute woman who you would meet in real life, and you're like, oh my god. Whereas Natalie Portman looks like a fucking goddess from another world. That's just like, it's just not.
Yeah,
it's a whole different type of casting change, like that WB era, like those melodrama shows just really like leaned into it, and casting went. I used to call it bitch face casting because everybody has like a bitch face,
resting bitch face.
Not resting bitch face, just a bitch face, Whereas, but like
the Scream guy, right? The guy who created Dawson's Creek.
Uh-huh.
When Dawson's Creek shows up, he ran all those like YA shows, So like that sort of look. Tom Welling might be the one time they cast a face that wasn't typical of like a Superman, right? Like he had a little bit of that. True. If you take the weight off him, he looks more like Cillian Murphy than Henry Cavill. You know what I mean? Like he's
I can see that too. Yeah.
But it seems to me that like what you have is that you probably have agents as well as the studio system that wants to find people to invest in for all kinds of things rather than getting like a really fresh face. None of these faces that are that you see cast in most things today are fresh to me whatsoever. Like I said Jodie Foster earlier, that's why she's on my brain, but Jodie Foster looks like fucking Jodie Foster. Yeah. All of these people look the same. Like for the most part, like who are cast in most things these days look the same to me. So that's my old man yelling at clouds Simpsons reference thing about casting in general, is that like as I watched Paper Moon last night, it was people look like really ugly Americans in it. It was kind of nice to see ugly people on TV. If I ever make movies, I'm putting all
Roseanne took off, bro. Like they were all like, not just like John Goodman looked like a normal guy. Everyone just looked like her sister looked like my stepmom.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
she's the stepmom, isn't she?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember looking at the show and looking at my stepmom, like, oh shit. So they exist. It's just
her and Goodman kept going pretty good too, and the Galecki kid, right?
Who's the go-lucky kid? What are you talking about?
What's his name? Johnny Galecki or whatever. He's on the Big Bang Show.
He's Rusty in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. He's also, you're telling me there's a chance. But anyways, So we're gonna make this a shorter one today because I'm gonna take a nap this afternoon. That way I can stay up all night for tonight and watch Book of Boba Fett and not be half asleep when we go to do our second show of the day. But we're going to be back tonight at 1 a.m. right after Book of Boba to talk about the finale. If you're awake, by all means, stay up with us and join us in the chat and let us know what you thought. And we're going to be going over not only the episode, but probably the episode and then kind of giving our thoughts on the whole season, because we'll be able to. We'll have that ability. And then tomorrow we'll be back at probably maybe 11 a.m. depending on how tired we are. And we'll give more insight and thoughts into it. And then after that, it's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi time. If Bespin Bulletin would slow the fuck down, tomorrow's Obi-Wan Kenobi time, not today. But anyways, go to check out Bespin Bulletin Scoop on the Inquisitor if you haven't, because it's good stuff. And and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Make sure you like this video. If you didn't like the video, then like the video. And if you just don't care, like the video. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And become a Patreon supporter so I can spend your money on drugs.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.
It's not about